Welcome everyone to the call today, and I'm very excited to have our vendor, which is Lee Scott, which is the owner here of Pro Social Content. He actually worked with one of our other vendors, and I came over, was able to start his own company, get things going. We're very excited to work with him. His resume is very, very extensive when it comes to social media, and Lee will kind of tell you himself, but it's been a real pleasure to work with him. We've known him for a few years now, and just been a great guy to work with. Very, very knowledgeable when it comes to social media, which he'll get into this, and you'll see for yourself as you get in here. So with that being said, Lee, maybe you can kind of tell people your background, how you got into what you're doing. I know you love what you do. You're very good at it. Some of the people you worked with, and then what we have here to offer today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Vince. I just want to make sure everybody can hear me audio. Does it sound good, Vince? Everyone can hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. All right, great. Well, thanks for having me on today. Again, very excited to work with you in this capacity. Like Vince mentioned, we've actually worked together for a little over 2.5 years on some different projects together, and things are really coming to like a head with us. Your company's growing. Agora has been great to work with. They're growing at a staggering rate, which is glad to see. Same thing on our end here. So just having the opportunity to kind of engage on a more in-depth level to offer more high-quality products and services with you folks, it's something that we're really excited about. So what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about outsourcing social media. Now, I'm not going to dive into a ton of specific things. We're going to kind of give a broad stroke, but it's going to be enough for you to get an idea of how that picture looks and what you can do with it, how it interacts with your clients, how they can benefit from it, why even do it. So we're going to kind of dive into it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to kind of give you a little bit of understanding about who I am, a little bit of my background. And my name is Lee Scott. I'm the director of sales here, but I'm also the founder and CEO of Pro Social Content. Now, when I first got involved, I had no idea I would be doing anything of this nature. But, you know, again, like when I got out of college, I went to school to be an architect. You know, the internet was just kind of a shell that it is today. So there was no way for me to predict that it was going to kind of lead into the situation that it is now. So I went to school to be an architect, and I put myself through school being a salesperson. And what happened is I found out quickly about year 2 of college that I could make just as much, if not more money in sales that I could being an architect, especially starting out because architect pay is not very high. So I switched my major over to business management and really started to dive into the sales and marketing aspect of it. So when I first got out of college, my first job was as a merchandiser. So merchandisers, if you're not familiar with those are, they work for large retail stores and they basically just look at numbers. They shift through numbers. But because I had a background in architecture, which is all numbers, you've got to be very good with math, it was a very good fit for me. So and then I kind of worked my way into the sales side of it, and I was able to get into the mortgage industry back when we had a real heavy boom back in the 90s. I was a partner in a business for quite a while. And what happened is just the natural progression of just the world of digital marketing really started to come into age. So the traditional marketing just wasn't working nearly as much anymore, and we needed to create leads. At the time, we had 5 loan officers working for us, and I had to get them leads. So I kind of switched gears from the thought process of running a mortgage company to just doing leads, just a lead base, because every single business needs leads some way, shape, or form. You've got to get them somewhere. So I really got involved heavily with the digital marketing arena. So once I went through this progression, the mortgage industry kind of took a collapse, as you all know, about 10 years ago, and I relocated to sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, which I didn't know at the time. The Phoenix area is the second largest hub in the country for tech. So it's San Francisco, then it's Phoenix, and then I believe Charlotte is the third. So I was kind of, the timing was perfect. I met this gentleman who owned a company that created online website lead generation for realtors and mortgage brokers, which is a very, very good fit for me. So once I started to learn about how the tech industry works, what was involved with it, it just kind of came fascinating and attached. I became a student of it. And then when the SEO parts of it weren't working so much, you know, you start to teeter a little bit. One of my customers was the #1 salesperson in San Diego County for 8 years using one of our lead gen website systems. And the #3 person wanted to become the #1 person. So she figured out what she was doing, and she figured out that she was using us. So she comes to me and says, hey, I want to buy what she's using, but they are exclusive. So we couldn't sell it to her because there's only so many of those you can sell in a certain area. So we gave her another area. Well, her brother lived in the same community that I did, so I started working with him. And come to find out that he was one of the coaches for Tony Robbins. So Tony Robbins then wants to expand into the world of SEO and websites. And the customer, Doug, he's like, you know what, Lee, you're really good at this. We're thinking about the expansion. Would you mind taking a look at this? So the next thing I know, I'm on the phone with Tony Robbins. Again, just completely a path I did not intend to go down. But you know, he tells me, hey, we're going to offer these SEO products, and Doug can vouch for you. There was a long interview process that I had to go through, obviously, and they only take the best of the best there. If you know Tony, he puts his name behind it. He has to stand behind it. So I worked with Tony for approximately 2 years. It was a 2-year contract. I did very, very well with him, and then they shut the program down because Google changes the algorithms and they just stopped working. Well, at that time, one of the social media companies that I was doing SEO work with, they were very, very interested in having me come over. So now I'm looking at this going, well, going into social media, it's a whole different monster than SEO. And granted, this is before SEO really took the turn for the worst. So being able to understand how they work interactively together, it's really the same thing. However, it's easy, social media is easier to access. Everyone uses it. Every business needs it. And it's a lot more cost effective than it is for SEO. Hence why I'm on this side now. Every single person that you see, almost every single person, they have a mobile device. And they use the mobile device, and they use it primarily for social media. They search things in social media. There's indexation now for social media. Not to bore you folks with tech talk, but it's just a very, very important component. We do have a lot of clients, which we've serviced thousands of clients all over the world. There is about 35% of them, they don't even have a website. I'm not joking when I say that. They don't even have a website. It's all through social media. And that just shows the power of where this is headed. But that's just a little bit of background about me. Sorry for boring you with it if I did. But I think some of it's important to know who it is that you're dealing with. I always like to know when I'm doing business with folks who it is on the other side too. So let's just go ahead and dive into this a little bit and really start to pull this out. So why is social media so important? Social media sites and blogs, these reach 90% of all active U.S. internet users. 80%, like we mentioned, of these are mobile. And the reason why this is because it's easier for social media sites and blogs to rank higher on any type of a search. It used to not be that way, but Google and the other search engines, they have changed their what's called indexation, so it indexes mobile use first over than it does PCs. They stopped doing that about 8 months ago or so. So being it's all mobile, it's all connected to social media. Now this is a staggering statistic, and I had to do a lot of research to come up with this, but 70% of all referrals right now are via social media. Now if you can understand how bulletin board works or community groups work, you can get a better understanding of it. So let's just say you live in a certain particular area and someone needs a plumber. They're new to the area, or maybe their hairstylist quit or looking for a recommendation. They got friends coming in from out of town that want to go to a nice steakhouse. The old days, it would just be word of mouth. Well, now it's all on social media. So they go to the group, they post in looking for recommendations, and instead of saying, oh, here, call my friend Mike, he's a great plumber, well, how do I know Mike? I don't know anything about Mike. So it would help Mike if Mike had a page about his business that you can click on and see the reviews and interact with him, give a rating, rate the business, things of that nature. So this is why that referral percentage is so staggeringly high. And I've double-checked this on a few different forums over the years, and that number is growing and growing and growing at a massive rate. Now, I can tell you that I just recently moved to a new house, and I needed some work done, and I didn't go to Google. I went to this bulletin board source because I like to I want to do business with localized smaller companies. A lot of people have that mindset. I just think that they do. Helping out someone in the community is just it's a great thing to do. You not only are helping them and their families, but you're helping growing their business and making the community more stable. So I think that it rings true for any business, no matter which one that you're in. It's just one of those things that people tend to gravitate to. Now, here's some statistics that are really, really interesting. Because, again, it's growing and growing and growing. It's not slowing down. I know there's a lot of buffer that's come through with Facebook. They're going through a lot of kind of downplay right now because they've got themselves in trouble here and there, or at least questions here and there, but it doesn't matter. There's over 2 billion people there. The reason that Facebook is so successful for most businesses is because the targeting apparatus that you can get your message through is infinitively more effective than any other social media provider. Instagram, again, they got 700 million people, still growing. Twitter, again, 300 million people and still growing. So social media is not going away. If anything, it's going to continue on this path of becoming larger and larger and larger. We will, of course, have some adjustments that are going to need to be made here and there with it. But for now, social media push is way bigger than anything else media related. So let's talk about the benefits of outsourcing social media. The folks that you're going to be talking to out there in the field, they are people who are going to either A, be individuals who are trying to promote their brand, or most likely it's going to be businesses that are looking to expand their website visibility. That by far is the easiest group to target. A lot of them are brick and mortar. A lot of them are e-commerce based. But the issue that they start running into is the complications, the tedious work of creating good social media content. So the number one benefit for these individuals and businesses is the fact that it saves time. It will literally save them hundreds of hours on social media for them and the group that they're working with. They try to say, well, I'll just have my daughter do it, or I'll just hire this intern to do it. The difference of it is that those people aren't experts. They're people who use the networks. They're not experts at the networks, and there's a massive difference between the two of those. So that is number one, is you can just, it's a time saver. There are all kinds of things that happens with the networks that someone who is not up to par, they won't have an understanding of, and they start doing it incorrectly, which is a detriment to the page. Again, 90% of businesses that do this, they do it, they post incorrectly. They do not. So last year, Facebook itself had over 400 algorithm adjustments. It just becomes too much to try to figure out what it is that they do. A lot of these folks, they don't do any type of design. They don't have any call to action. They don't do any engagements. They're not running ad campaigns. They're getting very little, if no exposure at all. And then what happens is they give up because they don't think it works anymore. It does work. It's just that they're not following the rules. It's like anything else in life. If you follow the rules and you play within the system, you can be rewarded. The same thing when it goes to websites, SEO, SEM, Google pay-per-click, AdWords, you name it. That's just how it goes. It would be the same thing if you were doing traditional marketing. Let's just say that you're a high-end finance company and you focus on jumbo loans. Well, the last thing you're going to do is try to target an audience that has a house value ratio that does not one single one of them is a jumbo loan. Well, how do you figure that out? Well, you've got to go through the metrics to see what it is to figure out how to target those people. That's why the ads are so important, the targeting mechanisms. Organic growth on the networks is almost non-existent now if you don't do exactly what it is that they want via those algorithms. So you can see why these business owners, their interns, the people, their staff members that are currently doing it for them, they get overwhelmed. They just get over their heads, and a lot of them don't have a very long shelf life with it, just because they're simply not on. One of the things that we do here, so I'm the co-founder and CEO, so I spend 3 hours a day. Now, I've got a CTO. He's my chief technical officer here. And we've got another, our general manager. So the three of us, what we do is we spend 3 hours a day each testing the algorithms on the network. So I will give them a project, or he will give me a project, or she will give me a project for that particular day. So we spend 3 hours each, and we go, okay, so what's going on with the algorithm that just got adjusted? Now, sometimes Google, Facebook, and Instagram, the other networks, they will tell you what they're going to change, but it's usually after the fact that they change it, and they never give you the details. So the only way that you can figure out what those parameters are is to test it yourself. So one day we might look at it and go, what happens if you backlink one website every single day, and what happens if you backlink it 3 times a week, and what happens if you put 2 blogs in it? So we spend 3 hours a day testing these parameters to look at the engagement rates and the metrics of views and followers. And then what we do the next day is we compare the notes. So I will take their task that I assign them, and I will do theirs, and vice versa. So we're constantly testing the metrics to see what the pressure points are, to figure out what's working, what's not working. So when you go out there, you can constantly tell your customers in your sales cycle that they're going to get traction because we're testing what it is every single day, 9 hours a day, to figure out what that is. Again, it's very, very important. So with us, you do have the ability to offer social media services to these businesses. It makes it very, very simple. It's very affordable, and it's extremely effective. So it will help them get their business pushed out, more and more visibility, not only just on the networks, but also on the search engines as well, because like we talked about how Google indexes social media and web more so than they do the PCs now. So we're just going to keep going along here, guys. All right. So let's talk a little bit about targeting prospects and just some light sales tips. Now, I don't mean to sound braggadocious by any means, and sometimes I just have a knack for things. I just have a very big knack for this type of industry, and I have literally sold tens of thousands of our products all over the world for the last 4 years. I've met a couple people who have sold a lot, but they're usually selling education systems. They're not actually selling a product that works. They're selling you on, let me educate you on how to do it, and then what happens is you end up in that same revolving cycle that it becomes too much work. Most resellers that I see on the wholesale side, they usually get stuck working independently around 10 clients. And 10 clients, unfortunately, is just not enough to sustain someone who wants to be highly successful in a resale model. You guys are not doing the customer service part of it, but there are people who try to do that, and they end up working with companies like myself or us directly. So it's a lot of tasks to take on. So just keep that in mind when you're talking to your clients. They want more business. At the end of the day, that's why they're doing the things that they do. That's why they advertise. That's why they try to look for referrals. That's why they have a website. That's why they do the traditional marketing. They simply want more money. And social media, like I mentioned, is a great way to do it. So let's kind of talk a little bit more about the prospects, and we'll get into some sales tips too. Let's talk about who succeeds the most in social media. Now, I would be lying to you if I told you everyone. It's not true. There are certain segments of the marketplace that are just inherently more successful than others. And I'm sure that you can probably have a good idea of that, being that there's certain types of people that use it, and certain, like, I'll give you an example. Someone who owns a manufacturing facility, it's not going to do as successful as an online business, like a web developer or a marketing company or tech startups. They're just not going to work nearly as well. It's just because it doesn't have a lot of flavor to it. It's not something that people are generally interested in. Other ones that I would tend to try to stay away from are things that are financial and insurance related. Even though we do have customers in that segment, it's just that the growth is much slower because people, they don't really want to talk about insurance. It's not something that is on their mind all the time. They perceive it as an added expense to whatever it is that they're involved in. So it just doesn't sizzle as much as some of the other industries. So the online businesses, this can be e-commerce, this could be Etsy stores, Shopify is another one we've done a lot of work with. Anyone who has Amazon pages, people who sell any merchandise of that nature. They, even though that a lot of them are tech savvy, they're just behind in the social media realm. It's just a fact. Retail businesses are probably one of the best because they're brick and mortar. So they're relying on getting people into the door versus going through different types of targeting and retargeting campaigns that you have to do online, which are necessary. Clothing stores, bike shops, bookstores, health food stores, e-commerce stores, restaurants are fabulous. Now, we're located in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I don't know how many of you folks have been out here, but Scottsdale is kind of like a trendy, boutique-y type area. So everyone is into things that aren't mainstream, like you just can't go buy at Dillard's. So they want like a boutique clothing store or jewelry store because they want things that other people aren't going to have. Those types of folks absolutely succeed better than probably any others in this industry because there's something to show, there's something to see. They can send us photos. We can create graphics and overlay them to whatever it is. We can run sales ad campaigns. We can target their audience, bring new folks in. So there's a lot of things that you can do into that arena. And believe it or not, they're some of the easiest to sell. We've got a lot of restaurants on board too, and those are great. You know, there's this one, there's a place that I used to go for lunch. It's right across the street from my office. I got to know the general manager pretty well. And, you know, they ended up buying me lunch here and there. And then, you know, I would be in there with my computer and then we go, hey, what do you do? And I tell them. And then like, next time we're like, they're really interesting. Okay. Do you have any ideas for this? And then it was just really a passive way for me to get a lead just off of being their customer. So he's like, you know, Wednesdays are the slowest days. So I go, okay, well, what do you usually do? He's like, well, we usually run a special. What do you think? I'm like, well, what's a good cost ratio for you? What's a good ROI? And he goes, well, hamburgers and French fries. I'm like, why don't you do one burger, get one free? And he's been doing that every Wednesday now for a year and a half. It just works. So, you know, you start pushing it out to your clients on Monday. We'll do an ad campaign on a Tuesday. They'll have a full restaurant on Wednesday. It's just, you know, the way that you've got to perceive it and understand from their point of view what it is they're looking for. And again, it's more business. It's about getting crafty about how to sell them on the fact of moving forward with it. But these are all great industries, guys. They're really, really good industries. Service businesses are another one that succeed very, very well. Service businessmen. So I was talking about contractors like plumbers, general contractors, painters. These are ones that need to have a Facebook page just so they can get a referral. Now, they don't need to have a bunch of content and run a bunch of ads, but remember that anybody who's got a page on social media, it's about consistency and quality and making sure you're in those parameters. So those types of folks or smaller contractors, they do great with this. Hair and nail salons are wonderful. Tailors are wonderful. Auto shops are good. Moving companies, there's just a whole allotment of businesses that succeed with social media. These are the ones that I've found to be most successful. Like I said, I've literally sold tens of thousands of social media packages, and the ones that succeed are the ones that you want to try to focus on because remember, this is all about retention. You want to be able to retain them. You want to keep them on the books for a certain amount of time. You don't want them to drop off. You know, and if any of you guys are sales gurus, I'm sure you've heard this before. You know, being a sales professional myself, there's many books written about this. It's vastly easier to take the existing customers that you've already sold and upsell them into products and services than it is to have them cancel out and start with a new client. So you want to have that attrition rate and you want to have that retention rate. They need to match up. So it's easier to do that when you focus on industries that are going to see more effective results than others, and these are some that we're mentioning here. And there's a whole laundry list of these, but it really depends on the personality of your customer too. Some customers, they can understand it. Some need to be educated a little bit more. That's where you guys kind of come in. One of the things that I always do is I check their existing networks and offer them a free evaluation. Now, I haven't sold retail in a little while, but when I first started out, what I was doing is I was doing networking events, and I noticed very quickly that I was the only person, and I've done hundreds of these all over the country. I noticed very quickly that I solutions. And it's a massive segment that's being completely overlooked right now. And I literally don't have the answer to why, but anytime that I would go to a conference, even if I was there just picking up other businesses' business cards, I would still follow up with them. I'd still have a conversation with them. Like, hey, remember me? I'm Lee. I'm the owner of Pro Social. We chatted about your business. So I was going to realtor conventions. I was going to appliance conventions. I was going to mortgage. I was anything you could think of that there was a networking event. Sometimes I would present, other times I wouldn't. Presenting is where you have a table, you have your banner out there, and you talk to folks and give them flyers and stuff of that nature. I wasn't. Sometimes I would do that, but most of the time I would just come in as an entrant, and I would just go and collect business cards, right? And then I would follow up with emails and phone calls. And a lot of times people would remember me, and other times they wouldn't. But it doesn't matter. Every single one of these that I went to and did, I was able to get business from. And I still do those occasionally today, but just on not on a retail level, more of a wholesale level, kind of what you guys are seeing here. So there's a lot of opportunity for that. So what I would do is I would always go through and check their existing networks, because almost every company, they do have social media pages set up, but they don't know what to do with them. So one way that you can check their social media pages is this website here. It's called Likealyzer. This thing, I'm surprised they don't charge money for it, but it's absolute gold. So what you do is you just go in here, you go to your Facebook page, and then you type in whatever it is, the business that it is, you click on there, and then it will give you a free evaluation, and it will show you what they're doing good, what they're doing bad, what they need to improve on. And being able to have that in email to them, or if you want to print it off and give it to them face-to-face when you're meeting with them, it just speaks volumes, because when you see a report about yourself, it's kind of like, when we were kids getting a report card. You know what you need to work on. Sometimes you don't do it. Sometimes you don't want to, and sometimes you just want the school to be over with. It's the same thing with these business owners. But being able to have something tangible that you can share with them and show them that you can go, hey, listen, I can help you with the engagement piece. I can help you with this ad piece. I can help you with this, and then you start going into how it works, the specifics. Believe it or not, social media it's a very easy sell. Because everyone uses it. So it's not don't overcomplicate it. There's no need to do that. But every single customer that you approach or that's interested, I would always run one of the reports off this website. It's completely free, and it's completely accurate. It shows you exactly what they need. And a lot of times once they look at that report, they'll start going through it, and they'll go, oh, my gosh, we're so way in over our head. We don't know how to do this. We don't know how to do that. We don't know how to do this. And that's where we come in. We bridge that gap. So offer realistic options to gain more traffic. The outreach programs are key. Now, we offer Facebook ad campaigns. It's an a la carte service that we offer. Like I mentioned before, social media outreach is difficult because organic is very difficult because it's literally like 3.5%. So to give you an example of what I mean by that, let's just say that you got a customer, they want to start doing social media. Under 6 months, anything that's posted out only reaches 3.5% of their target audience or their followers. That's not a lot. So if you had 100, roughly 3.5 of those people would see that post, which is very, very low. This is why the ads are extremely important. We offer the lowest rates in the industry that I'm aware of currently. So we're at 30% per whatever their budget is, over $50, which is extremely affordable. So what we'll do is we target not only their own audience so they see the page, we also get new followers, new likes, shares, and comments to push those over. So I would say that if you're dealing with folks that have got a decent budget, you always want to start talking about ads. Or if you want, you can refer them over to me, and I can get involved with that sales cycle as well to help you out with whatever you need on that end. But that's a misconception. It's just like the old days when people got a website, they're like, oh, I got this great website built. And I used to run into this a lot when I was in the mortgage industry dealing with realtors. Like, oh, you know, I got this great website. I spent $7,000 on it. I'm like, well, yeah, but no one can see it. They're like, well, what do you mean? You just type it in. I'm like, you're right, but you're going through a search engine. So they have to know exactly what it is that your website is in order to find you. So now you're stuck doing SEO or you're buying ads. So it's kind of the same thing with the social media web pages. So if you're dealing with contractors, pushing them over to bulletin board groups, just having active, consistent quality content is good. But if you're dealing with someone who's actively reaching for new clients, the ad campaigns are simply something that they can't be ignored. So we've got 4 different package options, and we've customized services that you need. So I don't know if you've seen the marketplace recently, but I believe, Vince, you went ahead and updated that PDF file that I gave you that lists all the 4 packages of service that we have.
Yeah, I have everything in the back office.
All right, perfect. So, yeah, so when you guys get it, I had it pulled up, but I can't switch it over. I can't switch my screen over to another screen without Vince's help. So, but if you just take some time and go to the back office there and click on Pro Socials tab, there will be the products and services that we offer, also the a la carte offerings as well. So, and again, if you need something that's custom, or if you've got a client that's got a larger budget, I had one client of mine, she comes to me and she's just like, hey, Lee, you know, I got this client and I think it's a little over my head. Could you help me out? And I'm like, okay, well, what's the deal? She's like, well, it's with a national TV channel and they're looking to do ad campaigns and they got a budget of $40,000 a month. And I'm like, whoa, that's a good one. That's a really, really good one. So we ended up jumping on a conference call all together, got them closed out, and you know, she was happy, we were happy, everyone walked away very, very excited about that. So if you've got questions or need help with that, I'm more than happy to do whatever I can to help you out. So on those packages, let's talk about what we do here exactly. So what we do is we create high quality content. We have a graphics design department in-house here that we also test. We test, again, all the different parameters. So this is an example of one of our customers. This is the world's largest, outside of WorldPay, the world's largest merchant solution company in the world. So you can see what we're doing here is we're overlaying graphics with their images. So this is something that right now is driving a good portion of the market, is having high quality images that have the information embedded inside of it. And again, this is one of the algorithms that Facebook is focusing on right now. And you can see we've got really good high quality content. It's not just, oh, hey, check us out, or hey, this or that. It has to be very, very focused, very, very streamlined, and very, very good. So it's the same thing with the link backs that we have here. One of the things that we do here too is that every month you are going to get a content calendar, or the customer is going to get a content calendar, and every month it's going to have certain dates that are important. So we create content that is based around whatever that is. So it doesn't look like it's generic, which is the problem with most of our competitors. It's very easy to see high quality content versus low quality content. So here's another one that we posted. This is on the 12th. You can see, again, very high quality. It's like a whole, like someone literally was sitting down typing it, which is what they're doing. We've got 19 folks that work here currently. All of our content writers, they go through a 7-point trained background system before we even assign them a client, because they've got to be able to pass these. And we don't have any mistakes. So we run everything through cycles. We've got eyes on everything that gets pushed out, because it's got to be top quality here. Here's an example of one that we did for Christmas Eve. This one doesn't have a lot of content on it because it's Christmas Eve. People don't want to see, they're not going to read that much. They've got other things on their mind. But it kind of gives you an example of what it is that we do, the kind of quality that you'll see, and what you're going to see from your customers, or what you're going to see from your customers. So let's talk about how our process works. So after the sales process, so what to do is we select the social media package from our service page. Vince has got links for that. Once the checkout process is complete, we'll send over the client a prompt kickoff page. So that's going to be a profile question that's going to ask about the business, the product, the service, the value proposition, the competitors, who's the target audience, type of content to create. There are certain types of content to avoid. Is there anything that we need to know about your audience or who you're going to attract? What kind of online voice do you want to have? Do you want to be jovial? Do you want to be serious? Do you want to be educational? So these are all things that we go over with the client. So then what we do is we schedule a quick phone call. We connect the pages up. There's a whole process that we have to go through so we can get admin access so we can actually post on the pages. Client to the end sends us links to any type of images, transparent logos that they want us to use for our graphics department so we can do the overlay. And then the postings will start the 7 day after the purchase. So you give it 1 solid week, then the postings will start. Now after, sorry, that kind of bled over, guys. Sorry about that. So after we create the first set of posts, they'll be emailed to the client in a PowerPoint presentation. So they're going to be able to, this is something else that we do that no one else does, is we give the client 30 whole days of content so they can review. So it just goes into the cycle. So the PowerPoint presentation, they'll look at it, upcoming events, anything it is that they requested. They've got 7 days to approve that. We can adjust 3 posts or edit 3 posts for each package. And if they want more than that, it would be 5. However, this hardly ever happens to us just simply because we're so thorough on the profile questionnaire. They rarely, if ever, need to have any types of edits. I've only had that happen once, and we service quite a few clients. But the client works in an industry where every single thing has to get reviewed. So, you know, financial services and insurance, like I mentioned, they're under a lot of different rules and regulations. So if you get customers in those industries that are interested, don't shy away from them. You can still certainly sell them. It's just that know that it's going to be not as easy sometimes as what they anticipate. So, and again, if you need my help to explain that with them, I'm more than happy to do that. We also do monitor weekly reports, give feedback and postings on the content, and this is something that we do in an attempt to upsell them into other packages. Like I mentioned earlier, it's easy to upsell your existing clients that you've sold versus trying to get new ones. So that's something that we are constantly giving them feedback for, is especially when it comes to ads. A lot of times we'll do split testing. Well, let's try the word house instead of homes. Was that cheaper? Did we get more clicks? 3-bedroom versus 3-car garage. Is that more cost effective? Is that more clicks? So there's a lot of quality control that goes into the development of this and trying to steer the client into keeping them, like I mentioned, on board. All right, so guys, that is the presentation that I had for you today. We're running right about on time. And again, my name is Lee Scott. Here's my email address here. If you've got questions, you can just email me. And then I forgot to put my phone number on here too, but you can contact me directly. My telephone number is 480-420-6141. That's my personal cell phone. 480-420-6141. A lot of companies in this industry, they don't interact with you other than email. A lot of times it'll take them days to get back to you. You have direct access to me. If I'm not on another call or wrapped up in a meeting, I will take your call. If I am, I will always get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, let me know what you've got. So do we have anybody that's got any questions right now that you'd like to have answered? No one?
Looks like you did a good job. Looks like you did a really good job.
I was going to say, we got to have at least one question.
Well, that's, while people go, I'm going to switch back over the screen, okay?
Sure.
Take back over the screen. Hold on one moment here. Okay, hold on here. I love technology, right?
Wonderful when it works.
You got to stop. Yeah, you should have got a request to drop that. So if you could, here, let me see if I can do it there. Okay, you there? Okay, hold on.
I'm here, yes.
And we go right here. Are you guys still seeing that screen? I'm trying to take you guys over to the other screen here. I'm having a technical issue. Let me double check here.
Still see it saying questions.
What's that?
Sorry, it still says questions on the screen.
What questions do you have? Or
No, it says questions on the screen that we see. Well, yeah, if we get until you get over there, so on the different plans, Lee, it says 2 posts on Facebook and 1 network of your choice per week. So what are the choice of other networks?
Good question. Yeah, so that would be Twitter, LinkedIn, or Pinterest. They just shut Google Plus down. I don't know if you know that or not, but it's a choice of one of those other 3 networks. So it would be Twitter, LinkedIn, or Pinterest. And again, this really comes back to what industry your client's in. If you've got someone who's in the professional realm, LinkedIn is wonderful. There's a lot of really cool tools on LinkedIn too. I'm not sure how savvy you are with LinkedIn, but there's one that I've tested a lot with. We used to have a LinkedIn package. LinkedIn Help is called Help Builder. That's something that we can take a look at too if you've got someone that wants that. But it's basically personalized messages to other folks to help to interact with them. And you'll get a lot of people who want to sell you stuff, but in turn you get a lot of people who's interested in what you're doing too. So if you're professional focused clients, LinkedIn is going to be for them. If you've got customers who are really involved with Twitter, which is still it's like the 3rd biggest network, that's a great one, that's included. Or Pinterest is the other one. And if you want those added on, they're just $25 each if they want more than the 2. So you can add on LinkedIn, you can add on Pinterest for $25. You can add on LinkedIn for $25. So it just depends on what avenue they want to go.
Okay. So Instagram, what if they don't really have a Instagram presence? I mean, do you help build that or?
I tell you what, Instagram right now, okay, so here's the thing with Instagram. If they don't have Instagram or don't want Instagram, we can swap that out for their network, so they would still get the 3. They're always going to get 3. We like to focus on Instagram because it's seen more growth than any other network. The thing about Instagram that I love is that it's so much easier to gain followers than it is on any other network, and you don't have to pay for it. Those are free. So there's a company that we do business with. They did not have a page at all, and I started running the Instagram for them, and they were getting 20 followers a post, which is freaking awesome. And it's in a very, very hard industry. It's tax related, which is not really a sizzle type industry. But we've got some customers that are in the medical marijuana industry. Those are off the charts. You make a post, we'll get 700 new followers. That's crazy.
Are you guys able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir. I can see it.
Can you see it, Gene? Anyone else out there?
Yeah, I see the marketplace screen.
Okay, good. So let me just quickly go. Here it is right here, the tab. When you go in here, you can kind of go through the information about the company. And that one tool he talked about right there, that localizer, you click on that, and that will take you right over to it. You can go right there, run that report, which I think is very, very, very powerful. I love reports. Anytime you can get reports, it's just very incredible. And then here are your plans right here, the budget. This kind of show you what you get included. For $189, you get 2 posts on Facebook networking. This is just to get them started, right? 2 Instagram posts, professional design images, branding content, advanced PowerPoint approval, monthly reporting. Here you go. Here are your prices: $189, $379, $549, $949. To all the way, your enterprise. You can go through these individual on your own. But this is the page he was talking about for the different packages. And then for buying, basically, you come over to the Forms tab. And on the Forms tab here, we have listed the different prices. He's actually they're doing the billing, so you'll click right here, which will take you right over, and boom, and that'll also walk you through the whole setup process. We did it this way also because there's a lot of information that has to be asked about when they buy, getting their information, getting them logged in. So we'll have the training. Here's your support. Here's the contact number for him right there that you mentioned. So we got this all built out for you guys. And here's your commission tab, how much you sell for, the type of commissions you get. And this is monthly. You can build that on your own right there. So very excited to have this product in Agora. We work with another company, and Lee was helping us with that other one. But when Lee started this up, I just felt this is a really good fit for Agora. It fits really good, with our paid traffic campaigns. Over here, Franklin with Pegasus will be handling the paid traffic campaigns for Facebook and LinkedIn. So they're more handling the social media posting, getting more followers and things like that, and then they'll be working very good with that program also. So this is a very good host of suite of services when you put together here, with the online business directories, the paid traffic campaigns, the landing pages, when you have the website, you have the social media, and you have the videos. You tie all this together. These are very, very, very powerful marketing campaigns along with the Sotellus reviews. This fulfills the 5 pillars of the Internet, which I've always teach, which is the number one pillar is your website or a landing page. Then you have review marketing. You have social media marketing, video marketing, and all these work together because videos go in your social media, they go in your website, and they also land on Google. And the last one is the search engines, and Google being number one. So all these work together, the 5 pillars of the Internet. So when I was teaching the 5 pillars of the Internet, I put that together, and then we were looking for key different components of different companies that would be able to handle each of these 5 pillars of the Internet. Because within one pillar, like social media, for instance, there's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, whatever new ones that are going to come up also. So this handles that whole segment of that area and then working together. So they'll be able to manage that, take it over. You're in good hands with Lee. Like I said, he's been doing it for many, many years and with a great background. With that being said, are there any other questions? I know some people it's been around for a little bit.
Vince, I have a question.
Yeah.
Lee, my name is Ryan Gates. I appreciate the presentation today. There was a lot of really good information. But a couple of the things that you said, one of the screens you talked about the 400 algorithms that are out there. And, of course, any of us that have been in this for a while, every business should be using you guys. No one should be doing this on their own. But you also talked about the percentage of that people are saying. So if I'm out trying to sell your company to businesses that are looking to do a much better social media presence, and someone goes, I don't have a lot of money for this, but they're looking at your lower package, the 2 posts per week. If you're not getting a lot of people seeing your posts, what is the success rate off of that lower program that you have if you're only doing 2 posts a week?
Right. So here's the thing. Now that and this goes into that. This is a very good question that you brought up because it's. And again, I don't want to get too tech heavy with you because it's a lot of moving parts, but I'll try to explain it the best that I can. All right. So the thing about it is that. And this all goes back to people who are scammers and spammers. Those are the ones that they have to have these changes for because every time that they make an adjustment, the scammers make an adjustment. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. And we thought that was done in the worlds of websites. And then when the search engines came out, the same thing occurred. There's so many different black hat types of way that people try to shortcut. And it does work, but it works for a certain time. But I'm very positive that you don't have a customer that wants to say, oh, yeah, well, let's just try for the short-term success, and then their website gets shut down. And then the IP address gets shut down. Now they've got to use a VP changer. There's just a VPN changer. There's all these different things. So that's one of the reasons that we go through the extensive research on trying to figure out what these algorithms are doing so we can, I don't want to say guarantee, but we can prove sustained success. We have an extremely high attrition rate here. It's very, very high. So even on the lowest plans, the thing is with the lowest plans, the best thing to do is that's kind of like a starting point because you have to have consistency and you have to have quality and it has to meet what the algorithms are doing. Now, I've been involved in social media for many, many years, and there was a thought process that, well, you have to post X amount of times a day, and that was correct for that time. But because everyone started doing that, and then it became, we're looking for higher quality posts, we're looking for higher quality graphics. I would say that if you've got a customer that has an Instagram account, that's vastly easier for us to expand and get more traction. So even if you run into these folks that don't have a large budget and on that lower spectrum, I would absolutely get them involved with Instagram because they can see a lot of growth. And I don't know if you know this or not, but Facebook bought Instagram and they're tied together. So any of the ad campaigns that Agora uses, they can still be pushed over to both networks. So if they have an Instagram account right now, that's the hot button for them. So it is easier to retain those folks, obviously, when they're seeing some type of resolution to the problem that they're having, which is exposure. And the best way to do that is Instagram, which is why we include Instagram on all of our packages.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Hopefully
and
that
actually, you did say that the big word that you brought up is the whole technical aspect of this, and you could probably talk to us for hours about that. I actually have a background in communications engineering, so I'd love, if you have time, if you and I could get together on a call and kind of do a sidebar kind of conversation, because, yeah, I mean, we could probably talk about this for hours.
Yeah. Well, I've always been a big technical. Like at the beginning of the call, I'm not sure if you're on, but I told you I went to college to be an architect, and that's very involved. It's very complex. Well, you know, when I got involved in the mortgage industry, it's also very, very complex. And then I got into the financial sector of it, and you know, I've traded for well over 10 years, like my own money. I don't use this. I do it myself, and there's a lot of moving pieces, but I just have a very technical mind. So for me, it's kind of like the Matrix, you know, at the end of it, where he can kind of see like everything. He just sees the numbers. That's kind of how I feel about this too. I just, you know, you get to a point where you just see it for what it is, and as long as you can work within that, you can be successful. And that doesn't go for this. It really goes for anything in life.
No, I don't want to bore everyone else on this call, but I'm in the same boat as you. I went to college to be an architect as well, and then started playing with computers, and I did become an architect, just not that type of architect. I became a solution architect. Building call centers.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's complicated stuff there, no doubt. Well, take my email down there and or my phone number, or you can just jump in the marketplace. Yeah, just shoot me some info over, and I'm more than happy to set up a call with you.
It's right there.
I got your info, so yeah, thank you. I will definitely be in touch.
Steve, you had a question. I want to ask it yourself, or I can ask it for you. Steve, are you there? I know you put it on the message there. He had a question. It said, how much can you increase the 3.5% effectiveness by adjusting the post to algorithms on a real-time basis is the question.
Okay, well, could you repeat that again? I'm not sure I'm understanding what the question is.
How much can you increase the 3.5% effectiveness by adjusting the post to algorithms on a real-time basis?
Well, it's not on a real-time basis because the content is pushed out for 30 days in advance. So if there's adjustments that's needed, they go into it's a reciprocal thing, which is why they have, you know, roughly 400. So they try to keep it to one a day, but they do it on a constant basis, but they don't publish them for usually to about 30 to 40 days out. So we've already made the adjustment in most cases before they've made the adjustment, before they announce what's occurred. Hence why we test it like we do. So we don't ever change the content unless they're requesting a content change, which is why they get that calendar 30 days in advance. Sometimes if we catch something and we can adjust it in about 2 weeks, but most of the time you're going to be safe. I mean, it's almost all the time you're going to be safe on that 30%. Again, the 3.5%, that's only valid on Facebook. That is not valid on Instagram. So the organic growth on Instagram, again, which is why we push it so much, it's much higher right now. So I would try to take advantage of Instagram more so than any other network because those people are going to carry back over to Facebook anyway in a lot of cases. So if your customer doesn't have Instagram, you should seriously push them over to that because it's so much easier and there's so much more traffic and it moves a lot quicker. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah. Well, you guys are making adjustments basically, you know, in advance when you're seeing what's going on. So
Correct. Yeah, so what we found is Facebook is usually, and the other networks too, they're usually they're testing 30 to 45 days beforehand. Well, we test every day. They come out with their adjustment when we've already made the adjustment. So we're literally just a half a step before them when it comes to whatever it is that they're about to announce. And again, we've been doing this for a long time, and that's just what we've consistently seen on a metrics basis.
Yeah, when I first got into internet marketing back in '08, I was trained by a guy that was very high up with internet marketing, Facebook, and it was when it was first just breaking into the market. And there were some things that we would teach back then that are still very pertinent today, which is social media etiquette. And it's good to have a company like this do it for you because you can mess up on your etiquette, like posting too much, posting the wrong stuff, too many offers, where you're posting them, if you're putting on your personal page compared to your business page. If people get hit, I mean, you can hear all the time people get hit too much with too many ads. And why they keep posting that same thing over and over again? And, so there really is etiquette to this, and having a professional company do it and do it correctly keeps you in that safe zone so people don't delete your, take you off and unbefriend you or get upset with you because your marketing can actually backfire on social media if not done correctly. Steve he's saying he also want to ask on here, does the 3.5% apply to LinkedIn as well?
No, LinkedIn does not, because LinkedIn, they have to voluntarily see the post. So, and the way that the ads, I'm sorry, not the ads, but the business pages work there are significantly different. You get more push with those. LinkedIn averages right under 6%. The last test we did on that was about 5.75% or so. It's easier to do on LinkedIn. Just because it's more of a business community network than it is you're trying to sell something to someone. It's more of a networking. So it's easier for LinkedIn than it is on Facebook for sure.
Gotcha. Well, good. This is a good call. So this is very exciting. I know there's some people that have some social media stuff coming up here, and we want to make this a big part of our marketing plan. So it's always good to have a good company in here. We work very hard to get all the information possible for you within here. Like I said, we'll be putting this training video. It will be found right here into this training section. And once again, here's where you can go to get that report he was talking about. That I love reports, free reports like that. I totally agree with you. When you can run your social media report, their paid traffic report, and run a report on their business directories, when you walk into a business, you are very, very well prepared to help that customer and show you how you can help them. And I've had great success by that. Well, that being said, we're coming up on the hour. We really appreciate you, Lee. Like I said, his information's right here. Lee's just a real pleasure to work with. You'll really enjoy working with him. Very helpful, very knowledgeable, and very experienced. So if you have a client that's interested in social media, you want to get on the phone, talk to them in advance, or if you have some really big clients like that, we'd love to bring in a $40,000 right a month client. Those are good clients that we service all big, small, little. When we put Agora together, we want to make sure we had the ability to help the smaller clients as also the bigger clients, because we do have a lot of really large clients in Agora also, and we also have the moms and pops and onesie-twosies. So we're here to help everyone out, make it real affordable, make it real powerful. With that being said, thank you for being on the call today.